Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by mountains, there lived a young man named Marco. Marco was only 24 years old, but his mind was older and heavier than it should have been. His thoughts never rested. They came in waves, one after another, without asking permission. He felt trapped in what had already happened, and afraid of what had not yet come. At night, his body lay in bed, but his mind kept running. Slowly, he forgot how to smile, not because he was weak, but because he was tired. Inside him, his mind felt like a storm, loud, endless, uncontrolled. One day, Marco heard a strange story about a village far away in the hills. They said a wise old man lived there, a man who once healed minds, before leaving the noise of the city behind. Something inside Marco shifted. For the first time in a long while, he felt hope. He thought, maybe, just maybe, this man can help me find peace. At sunrise, Marco left the only place he had ever known. He didn't know what waited for him, only that staying felt heavier than leaving. The road was long, and his thoughts followed him. Even here, his mind refused to rest. He wondered if peace was a place, or just another idea his mind was chasing. Doubt walked beside him, quiet but persistent. Some told him to turn back. Peace doesn't live in other people, they said. But Marco had already tried staying. For the first time in his life, he was tired enough to be quiet. And in that silence, something inside him slowed. Not because his problems were gone, but because for a moment, he stopped running from them. At dawn, he saw it, the village in the hills, and somewhere inside it, the man he had come to find. The village was quiet, not empty, just still. No rushing voices, no anxious footsteps. It felt unfamiliar, like time moved differently here. And without realizing it, Marco slowed down too. At the edge of the village stood a simple house. The old man sat there as if he had been waiting for no one. Marco wanted to speak, but something stopped him. The old man didn't open his eyes. Minutes passed. No words came. So Marco sat. No advice was given, no questions were asked. Yet something was happening. Without effort, his mind grew quiet. The old man opened his eyes and smiled. "You traveled far," he said softly. "Not to find answers, but to remember silence. The mind does not need control," the old man continued. "It needs space. And you cannot quiet a storm by fighting it." For the first time, Marco understood. Peace was never something to chase. It was something to stop disturbing. The next morning came quietly, as if the village itself was careful not to disturb the air. The old man did not greet Marco. He did not ask how he slept. Instead, he filled a glass until it could hold no more. Then he placed it in Marco's hands. "Walk to the edge of the village," he said, "then return. But do not spill a single drop." Marco stepped forward carefully, unsure why this mattered. Life moved loudly around him, but Marco did not look up. Every step became deliberate. For the first time in years, his mind was not racing. There was only this step and the next. When Marco returned, the glass was still full. The old man smiled. "Tell me," he asked calmly. "What did you see?" Marco searched his memory, but found very little. "I did not notice anything," he admitted. "I was focused on the water." The old man nodded. "That is the secret," he said. "When the mind stays with one thing, it has no space to wander. Not the past, not the future, only now. And in that moment, peace appears. Not because the world is silent, but because you are. Marco finally understood. Peace was never something to find. It was something to stop spilling. Marco did not leave the village immediately. He stayed long enough for the lesson to settle. Some lessons need silence before they become part of you. When Marco finally began his journey home, the road was the same, but his mind was not. The noise that once followed him everywhere no longer walked beside him. Life welcomed him back exactly as it always had. Problems were still there. Worries still existed, but something had changed. When thoughts arrived, he no longer chased them. He simply returned to now. Simple moments became enough. And for the first time in years, he smiled without effort. People noticed something different about him. They asked him what had changed. Marco did not give them advice. He simply stayed present. And slowly, others began to slow down too. Peace does not announce itself. It spreads quietly, through presence. The old man never followed him home, because the lesson was never about the glass. It was about what you choose to carry, and what you finally learn to put down.
That is the end of Marco's journey. I hope that this exact story helped you find peace today. I am Joshua, the face behind this channel. And if you are finding my video interesting, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.